All right, so last video we discussed the systematic dumbing down of America and how that's basically just everything going to shit. But here's the thing. Here's what nobody's understanding. In the mid 19 teens, we saw the same thing in Russia. Now, everybody knows about Anastasia, everybody knows about Rasputin, but I don't think that really, a whole lot of people truly understand what happened there. Now, the Russian Revolution actually, the seeds of that were planted when Nicholas II's father, Alexander, I believe, um, took the monarchy, which up until then it had been a total monarchy. It had been the royalty all the way on down to the serfs, the peasantry, who were basically slaves. And he actually abolished that system. He kept the monarchy and he kept the bourgeoisie, but he released the slaves. But no, that was it. He just like released them. So these people were left with pretty much limited resources on how to make a living, support their families, feed themselves. And then on top of that, to add to this bullshit, Alexander was assassinated. Pretty much every Russian czar had been assassinated for a few generations prior to that. Is nobody seeing the fucking connection here? And the thing is that right around the time Nicholas II took the throne, a massive industrialization of Russia took place. And these factories were run like hell. They were paid shit. Their living circumstances were crap. And finally, the Russian population in St. Petersburg decided to get together and basically petition the czar for better conditions. And that's what that Bloody Sunday thing was all about. They were marching to the Winter Palace to take this petition to their czar, who they called their father because that's the literal definition of the word czar, and basically ask him for help. Because Nicholas II had no fucking idea what was going on. He had no clue. And quite frankly, he had no business on the Russian throne. I think we all know this, but he viewed it as his God-given responsibility. So he figured that he just couldn't get out of it. And here's the thing. The royal family didn't even live in the Winter Palace. They lived in Sarkosello, which was like, I don't know, a few miles outside of St. Petersburg. So they weren't even there. His uncle, Sergei, actually ordered the military to fire on the mob. But here's the thing. They were men, women, and children. They didn't have any weapons. They obviously were not there to do any violence, but he just had them fire on them. And that was the start of the Russian Revolution. And see, this is how the Bolsheviks got in and did their thing. This is how Lenin was able to spread his poison. Is nobody seeing this? And it was the same thing. The peasantry, the majority population of Russia, and Russia is a big motherfucking country, they were uneducated. They were struggling. The middle class had disappeared pretty much, or, basically one step below, like the nobility, had disappeared completely almost. So it was nothing but a nation of poor crying out for food and help. And then that whole Bloody Sunday business just basically proved to them that the czar could give a fuck about them, which is how the Bolsheviks and Lenin were able to do their thing. And we are seeing the same thing in America right now. At this moment, there is no higher education being offered unless you can fucking pay for it, or unless you're willing to take on $40,000 worth of debt. The middle class is pretty much fucking gone. It's in the middle of its death rattle. Healthcare is a fucking joke. Grocery prices are through the roof. Gas prices, fuel, everything is through the roof. And yet the wages are at poverty level for the majority of the population. And here's the thing. Here's what I want you guys to take away from this. The Russian Revolution happened. The Bolsheviks got through. And this is where the government, this is where the ruling parties need to understand something. Sooner or later, the peasants will revolt every time. Every fucking time. We've seen it throughout history. Sooner or later, the peasants will revolt. It's he who does not learn from history is doomed to repeat it. I want to leave you with that thought tonight. We'll discuss more tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching.